line of work, you're always going to be questioned and tested by people. You have to do your healing work. You have to be okay to be able to go into our communities and see what you're going to see every day. It's only through that consistency of creating safety and being the same person that people will begin to trust and see that you're there for the right reasons. You're there to help and facilitate change in the community.
Vision is a very powerful force. 7 Indigenous women had a vision for the future of social work in Indigenous communities. By combining the modern sciences with traditional Indigenous healing ceremony and techniques, real change could be brought to communities across the globe. This resulted in 3 institutions coming together in partnership: the Middleton Moss Institute, the Ontario Federation of Indigenous Friendship Centres, and the Factor-Inwentash Faculty of Social Work at the University of Toronto, in creating the Master of Social Work in Indigenous Trauma and Resiliency field of study.
One of the really important things that happened early in my career was a coming to consciousness of us as Indigenous people in Canada. All of the things that we had been told and exposed to weren't always the best things in our development. And so that returning to cultural, to traditional ways, to ceremony were important things.
What we're not talking about is that bigger picture issue, which is trauma, intergenerational trauma in our communities. And this is not something that happens only to people of a particular color or a particular cultural group. This is happening across Canada and across the world.
Social workers have, for a very long time, not always been seen as a helping force in our community.
In order to work on the painful issues today, that we needed to bridge the river. We needed to be able to work with the latest in neuroscience research and the best methods of treatment with the best practices of Indigenous wisdom throughout the world.
We really needed to change the face of social work, at least social work in our community.
There were things that we could learn from Indigenous worldviews that could transform social work, that could help us to be better at what it is we're trying to do when we're supporting individuals, families, and communities.
After the release of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's final report, it was important to recognize that there was an urgent need to create a space that focuses on resilience and historical knowledge to educate social work professionals to more effectively work with Indigenous communities around the globe. The MSW ITR combines the faculty's evidence-based practice with traditional healing and ceremony methods drawn from global Indigenous traditions.
The ITR utilizes the value of global Indigenous. And so if we were to look at the North American Indigenous medicine wheel, we look at the acceptance of all cultures.
Each person, regardless of their background, comes to that circle with their experience, but also as an equal.
We develop wellness plans with each student that focuses on the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical wellness of that student. Strengthening all of those areas in your life is what we call resiliency.
The shame is the underpinning to trauma and grief that actually hinders and can prevent people from reaching out. Because we were able to address that for ourselves and with the support of the faculty and with one another, that's really enhanced my practice and my own personal growth.
I feel so lucky that I've been able to be part of this group and learn from everybody from all these different backgrounds. And there's been a lot of opportunity for people to share different traditions and teachings from their own cultures.
I was surrounded by all these amazing classmates and professors that were affirming and challenging my outlooks on life every day.
A unique feature of this field of study is that students don't have to live in Toronto. The coursework is broken into 2 parts. Number 1, 6-day intensive courses, which occur 5 times over the 2 years of study, where students come together in group learning and ceremony. And number 2, an online program comprising a number of required courses. What this means is that the practice and placement component can be completed in students' own communities.
They get to go and work in their communities and have experience. I think the most important thing about the way we design the course is you don't have to leave your home and your family and your community for 2 years.
We're in there together for 6 days straight. We begin and end each day with ceremony. It's a very dynamic and involved experience, and one that has been transformational, every single intensive that we've had.
There's such a crisis in our communities that the way it was structured really not just accommodated my needs, but I think the needs of the community in which I work.
On the social work end of things, we have neuroscience, attachment theory, trauma-informed care. The MSW ITR enables us to take a different path that's respectful of Indigenous ways of being and respectful of our communities.
My father always told me to never be a reservoir, but to be a stream and let it flow. It's been an amazing journey. This program has allowed me and provided the tools and resources to help me bridge that gap in my community.
I'm really excited about what we've learned and that I think we can address roots or causes of symptoms.
This program will actually propel some change also for our communities to be able to trust people who may identify as social workers and know that they truly are wanting to help make some social change.
It's been about transforming the limits of what is possible in this field.
All of the graduates are going to be able to go forward and do a great job at building relationships in communities, whether that's with community members, the systems of government, within research.
My hope has always been that we are equipping a generation of social workers that are going to do social work in a better way. So I hope that we'll be looking back and saying, yeah, this is where it started.
It has been absolutely phenomenal to see the students from many different Indigenous cultures come together and form a very strong community of healing and help.
I've changed so much personally and professionally.
This program, no word of a lie, has made me a better person.
It really has been a special experience that only happens once in a lifetime.